Guys, welcome back to the channel. Tonight we are working on this 2015 Kia Optima, and it was towed in from one of the car lots I deal with, and he ended up buying it at auction. It's a no crank, no start. The dash and cluster does power up, and it looks like someone tried to make a key. The fob looks brand new. It still has a sticker on it. This is one of those keyless type, no blade key remote systems. And it's been here for a while, partially because I think I've come to some sort of conclusion, but I've been waiting to try to verify. And so that's why I'm bringing you guys along, because I think I finally got the chance to be able to verify to see if my theory is correct. So with that, I'm going to show you some of the steps I've done to get to this point, and from then on we'll be able to continue forward to see if we can get this figured out. Okay, so I'll get you guys going. First things first, I did have to install a brand new battery because, as always, they bring you cars with electrical problems with a dead battery. So we'll start with scanning it, but actually, let me show you exactly what it does. So here's the new fob. It looks pretty legit. Doesn't look kind of, let's call it counterfeit. And then if I push the button, it'll tell you, so it says key not detected, and obviously we see immobilizer light. Keep pressing, nothing. Again, press start button with key, nothing. If I take the remote and put it there, I'm able to go through the key on procedure. And then if I try to crank it, nothing. It just turns off as if we're requesting to turn off. So let me get this powered up again. There. And I'll do a system scan. Automatic selection, we hit read. And it is actually the correct VIN. Trust me on that. So it can identify the vehicle, all while still just keyed on, like a normal situation. It just doesn't crank. Diagnosis, and I'm going to do complete scan. That way we can hit all the relevant modules. All right, so we have completed the whole system scan. Let's see. Here it's telling us immobilizer, no response. Body control module, no fault. Let's see, engine, no fault. Let's see the report. So pressure sensor, engine management, history. Got a couple CAN communication faults, but they're not active. Let's see, tire pressure. All right. Nothing here that we see that's relevant other than this immobilizer stating it's not responding. And since I've already dove into this about a month ago. That is a module that is not installed in this vehicle, because right away I went searching with that, because clearly that is going to keep us from starting the vehicle if we have no immobilizer communication. But in this case, trust me, there is no immobilizer. Okay, and then so after thinking I had an aha moment with this whole immobilizer not responding, after researching for a bit, I found out that the setup and the system for this basically smart key fob system, the major player or master is this smart key unit, which, first of all, we do have. Second, we have no faults in it, which it starts to get odd because all of our problems are no key detected situation or problem, and that is the guy that would tattletale any sort of problem with the key. So let's get back to where I was. Okay, we are powered up and we will look at basically live data. That's where I went next after finding out that is one of the masters. And here we go. So being this is first time dealing with one of these, I am not 100% sure what I am looking for or even what I'm looking at for some of the things. Some are straightforward, but trying to look for something that would jump out. And then so I finally get to something that looks to be related with keys. And so that's blank as far as frequency key status. Not sure what's supposed to be there. It does say key 1 is learned. Key 2 looks like it's not. Same with 3. Let's see, button status, blank. Smart key module status, it says it's in a learnt mode. Number of learnt keys, 1. Now, I don't know if this is the learnt key, if this is key number 1. But according to just those data PIDs, it again was getting puzzling, because this one you would think would show some sort of problem if we're having, let's call it like a mobilizer type of issues. And then if I try to go, I'm assuming these two PIDs are related to when you hit this. And you actually could see the light blinking and no status change there. And so I'm starting to just getting lost and not knowing what's going on. And if I back out, let's see. If so, let's look at this. Let's see. So it's saying the status normal. Let's see. It's not seeing any button status. I'm assuming that's what it's asking for. Okay, so we see that seems to have not been good, or obviously it's displaying a failure. At this point, I still don't know exactly what that is referring to. One thing that I did see was this. Let's see. We'll do this. So it tells you, put it right here by the shifter, ignition off, which it is. And okay, so another failure. And so those things are just all kind of relating to what the error message on the dash says, that it's not seeing the key. Now, is it not seeing the key because this just wasn't even programmed, even though it is a brand new key? Did someone just get in here and attempt to program it, never go through, and leave this fob in here and when the car got sold? Or is it programmed some way, somehow? Not sure how. If it can't even be detected, how you'd be able to program it unless there's a different way. I'm not sure because I've obviously not done any keys on one of these, so I don't know if this one's programmed or if it's just a blank and why we're not seeing it. And then, so one last thing I could check. So that's a SMK, which is the smart key module. So ignition on. And one thing I've noticed, I have to put this in up against that for it to, looks like it can at least see it that way. So there's something in here that is able to sort of communicate with this. So that's confusing in a way. So if I want to check, I guess, status of the main master player, it's telling us what we saw in live data. So it says key 1 learned. And that's all. So what if we check that? Okay, so let's see, key off. And it says put the, I'm assuming this, perpendicular, avoid pressing the button. So I'm going to hold it there. Press OK. And this is now telling us that the key is successfully learned. Supposedly, this test we just ran, where I put this on the key, the push button, supposedly tells us that this is learned. So if this is learned, what it's telling us, and that the status tells us that there is a learned key, if it is learned, and this test here supposedly sees that it's learned, why can't we start the car? Again, I can press, my foot is on the brake. And nothing, no start, even if this is supposedly a learned key. And so this guy, that is the SMK, the main controller with the system for the key. And I'm beginning to fear that that is probably a possibility of what's wrong. And why I say fear is because I don't know what's going to be involved with doing a, let's call it a used one at first. Not sure if a new one can be purchased, gotten available, so on and so forth. So I don't know if I'll even have the tooling to do a used one or what would be involved, so on and so forth. So at this point, I decided to do some more research, and I'll show you what I found. Now, if you remember, when I was doing the active test and looking at the data on the scanner, I think it was 2 tests that basically came back with a failure result. One of them was the communication line. The other was the antenna test. So those 2 are starting to tie into something basically similar. The third thing that I'm keep noticing is anytime you push a button, there's no status change of seeing or recognizing any buttons. So basically, I think with what we are dealing with, not an actual key problem, it seems that the key is properly learned, but we are literally dealing with what the dash is saying, and that is that it cannot see the key. So now what we have to figure out is try to see why the vehicle can't see basically the wireless radio frequency communication from the smart key fob. Okay, so I've gained access to the antenna module there, and I am monitoring power, ground, and the signal. And right now, key is off. And just to check and see what levels we have. So the red is the voltage on the ground. I just wanted to make sure nothing crazy was there. That's down at 0. The blue is the power feed. That's up to near 12. And the green is the signal line. That's in the high 11. So I'm going to key it up and see if that changes. Let's see. Okay. Key is up, and we are getting signal activity on the communication signal line. So that's very repetitive. But I don't know necessarily what's supposed to be there. If that's a communication that occurs constantly between the SMK and the RF, or if it's supposed to be stagnant and then only show activity when there is communication from sending or receiving radio frequency. Based off that, let me see if hitting the button does anything different. So let's see. Nothing different. Nothing. So I don't know what's supposed to be there on that communication line, but I am theorizing that this receiver is not working, that the whole vehicle, that main module, everything is not seeing the response from the key fob, and it's not seeing it because I believe that guy is non-responsive. Based off everything that I've been reading and just experience with everything, other vehicles, systems like this, and kind of a gut feeling, I'm narrowing down to that, but I need a way to prove it out. Okay guys, so I finally got lucky. It's been a while since I actually messed around with this one because part of the problem was trying to wait for one that had the same start system, basically a bladeless key, one of those remote hands-free type of key system in the same general year range to be able to do kind of back-to-back testing. So here I am with that. I am connecting the scope to the same antenna. So this is actually a 13, but I checked the wiring and the system, and everything is pretty much similar. Now they do go, as far as that signal, it does go to a different pin on the main, I guess, SMK module, the smart key module, but it still nonetheless is the same antenna setup, and the concept and operation is the same. I did read both vehicles' description operation for the system, and it was the same. So the one thing I know that I want to try that I can do that has made me think that the problem is the receiver, is to do the test of detecting the key with interior antennas. So you can see that one that I've got highlighted. That's the one that the antenna's up there up front. And as far as what I am monitoring is channel A in blue is the power supply. Red is I am monitoring the ground, the voltage on the ground. And then green, I am monitoring the signal line that goes back to the smart key module. So I am expecting to see some sort of activity on the green channel when we request the antenna to find the key. So we'll do that. And we'll quickly take a look there. It's all flatline. We'll hit OK. And it passed, and look at that. We have activity on the green signal line. Okay, so now that we see a difference between this known good vehicle without any issues, works right, it's properly starting with the wireless remote, and we see a difference in that communication line, that it stays constant up high, and there's only activity when there is radio frequency being transmitted when we did that antenna test. So that is just one more step in helping prove out that we have some sort of issue on that communication line. And I believe that it's just a dead RF antenna not receiving things and sending it down. And I think that constant pinging that we saw in the bad car is just the SMK reaching out because it's not seeing the RF antenna. And just to further prove out, I'm going to move that RF antenna into this vehicle and see if this one now does not see the key. Okay, so here's the bad one. I've marked it with an X. I haven't installed it yet, but I got the scope back on here. There is our scope running, all same channels. I wanted to see or show you if I hit the button, we should get activity on that signal line because this will receive the message from this and it'll react and send it down. So let's see if we can capture this. Let's hit. There we go. Look. So let's unlock it. There we go. So that is what a known good should look like. Kind of like what I was hoping to see. It's similar to the BMWs I've done. So this is a receiver in radio frequency from the remote. And it's also, as we saw, receives it from all the antennas. So the antennas get current from the main module. It's an inductive current, and they'll pick up the key and send that frequency information, because it's a change in frequency. It sends it to this RF wirelessly. This picks it up and then sends it down to the RF. So that's how this whole system works. Now there has to be a separate main, possibly a backup antenna, like in the literature, but this must be an inductive coil like most regular mobilizer systems are, and this will energize and send frequency to this guy when it's up close in order for these two to communicate right there. That's communication only between the fob and this coil here, which I believe is how the other key in the other car was able to be learnt is because it could still communicate, and I'm wondering if the process to do that is by placing it close to here, and it picks up the frequency and it writes the info, so on and so forth, and so you could learn the key there. But for anything past that, key cycling, because this will do your key cycling, anything past that, it looks like it still has to go wirelessly from here to this antenna, and then from there to the SMK. So I think that's what's going on, and obviously we've kind of proven it out. But the thing that was weird was how you could still get operation there, but that's due to that guy there. So lastly, let's help prove out and install the faulty one. Okay, so I've got that one off and the bad one's installed. So again, this one, no X on it. This is the bad one there. So first we can do our key remote test. So there we go. Nothing picked up wirelessly. And we probably don't even have to go through that scanner, since I think that is just enough evidence. So again, we'll try and basically key not detected, immobilizer. This one does have a message to insert the key. It has a backup, basically, key slot, which I don't understand why the newer one, this is a 13, the newer one does not have that. So for whatever reason, this one was set up with that. But again, we're not seeing this in the main module because this guy is dead and not able to receive any radio frequency. Now, even though now I am 100% on my theory, confirming my theory, and accurately diagnoses, I would like to install this in the bad car. And part of me doesn't want to, has that gut feeling of I'm going to mess this one up. And now this customer is going to be stuck not starting. But I'm very, very tempted because I checked voltages and everything, and they're both the same, both cars. And literature tells us this has no play as far as authentication or deciphering any encryption, so on and so forth. It literally just tells you it's a high-tech device that transfers the frequency. So I'm really tempted, but I'm hesitant. I hope I don't make a mistake. Reluctantly, but not. I'm trying actually, so it's plugged in. Let's see. Oh man, that's awesome. So if it's still reacting, we haven't killed it or burnt it. It's all should be voltages for signals. Now we get to see if the engine is locked up or knocking. I brought it back after you saw it wasn't reacting. Okay. So, I don't know what's going on over there. Let's make sure All right, perfect. I think. Okay, so something is going on over there where I don't know. Is the car or something killing this? We saw it temporarily kind of knock that out, but it's still alive. Okay, so for right now, because I am still able to start that, I don't know what happened over there. Something's going on, but I don't want to keep messing with this one. As of right now, I am 100% sure that the antenna, the RF antenna, is messed up. Now, if I would have left it longer in there and maybe cycled or reset something, I don't know. But I don't want to keep messing right now until I get a spare one that I can dedicate to that and not off of a known good customer's car to mess with. So for right now, at least we know that's part of the problem. If it's the whole problem, I don't know. But I'm stopping for right now, and I'll get one of those modules coming. Okay, so I'm picking back up. This is another day. The other vehicle is come and gone, put back together. I think last when I left off, it started working with the locks. Then I went over to attempt to crank and start the car, and nothing happened. Even right after then, I hit the remote, and I didn't get any lock actuation. Now, I don't know if I didn't hit it correctly enough on the remote, because right away, I took the antenna back out, took it over to the good car, and tried it out, and it started working with the remote and starting the car. At that point, I didn't want to keep messing around with that customer's antenna. I didn't want to create any bigger problems, but I did find out that we were able to actuate the remotes by hitting the button, which means now it is receiving the radio frequency and sending it to the main module. So based off of that, I went ahead and ordered a used RF module, and then I personally went to the junkyard and picked up 2 extra ones just in case I needed to have some on hand in case the vehicle was burning them up. And so here we are. Here's the pile of modules I've gathered. This one is the original. If you remember, I marked it with an X to denote that it's from the faulted vehicle. We'll keep that aside. This is one I ordered off online, and surprisingly or not, this one does not work. It does nothing. That's why I, on my own, went and picked up 2 extra ones from the local yard, and I will show you what these do. So try to get this plugged in with one hand. Okay. And here is the key right away. So this one works, and I've tried this one already. This one works as well. These 2 we'll keep off to the side. We know, again, we've figured out a problem. Now to go and start it. Oh, I'll get in. I'll actually close the door. Simulate. I'll press the brake and okay, right away. I don't have to have the key up against this antenna, and the vehicle's dash is not displaying a message saying it can't find the key. I am pressing the brake, pressing the key. The key is being seen, but the starter is not being actuated. So we'll turn it off. Goodbye. We'll simulate getting out. We'll recycle as if coming in. Foot on brake. Key. And nothing. So now And just to show you, okay, so maybe it's because I had the key on. So let's turn the key off. All right, that's what must have happened before. I kind of panicked probably and hit these buttons while the key was still on, meaning the position 2. So again, the antenna, the RF receiver now is picking up our signal. We just do not have starter operation. So now I want to take a look and see why the starter is not kicking out. And another surprising hurdle on this vehicle. So what I've got going on, I've got the meter hooked up down there to the starter feed. And I'll show you what we got. So let's watch the meter. Obviously we need voltage to get fed. Let's see. I should put it down there. I'm gonna hit the key. So we'll watch the meter. Okay, so we're getting voltage down there at the starter. It's being held, and then it will cut it off on its own. There you go. So again, we'll do it again. There we go. So it's trying to feed, or not trying, it is feeding voltage down to the starter. But as I said, I am done with this. After all that, if you can guess why we've got this and the wheel turned, that crank does not spin. This car has a locked up engine. That's why it was sent to auction without any key, so that you don't get to find out that the engine's locked up. Someone at the auction goes ahead, makes a key. They actually made it correctly, but I don't know when or where or why we then were getting the dead antenna not seeing the key. Obviously, you guys saw me figure all of that out, get the key being recognized, seen. We have the locks working. We actually have voltage now being fed to the starter because it is seeing the key. Only to find out that actually the starter is dead because probably they kept trying to crank it with a locked up motor, cooked the starter, engine is messed up. All this to find that out, which, yeah, I probably in the beginning could have simply checked to see if it was locked up. It sort of crossed my mind when it was dropped off because of the whole key deal, but the guy still wanted me to get the key working or find out what was going on, and that's why I went down that route. So I'm done with this one. I learned a lot. It was cool, the whole diagnostic process and finding out that little antenna deal was not letting the key be seen. But besides that, yeah, it's frustrating, it's crappy, but all I can do is give the customer the news, let them know what it is, and still charge them for some diagnostic time and parts. So I don't know, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it, got something out of it, and until the next one, that's it.